Welcome to Nature's Neighbor. I am your host, Melanie Blankenship, and I am in the Nature's Touch Nursery and Harvest podcast, Nature's Neighbors podcast area, waiting for our guest. Our guest is a little... Were you telling me I'm too short? My plants are too tall for my... Is that better? Okay, good. See, look at... I'd rather hide behind the green, you know? So we are waiting for our guest, Elizabeth, right? She's supposed to come. We're going to have a conversation, but she's late. And we didn't want to make you guys wait for the show. So we're going to start the conversation off because, you know, we could always start a conversation off about talking about weather. Weather is kind of the topic of conversation of many people right now because, you know, we went from, you know, having a minimal winter. You know, it got cold in December. Kind of started warming a little bit in January. We got a beautiful amount of rain. And then all of a sudden we went from so-called winter to instant summer. We were seeing 98 degrees as high daytime temperatures. Come on in, she's late. You're going to hear a person walking by. Come around, sweet. We're live. So I'm going to have you come and sit on a square. Remember in kindergarten when we had to sit on our square? I got a square behind here for you. But we went to summertime, and then now we're sitting here waiting for rain to come, which we're super excited because I need it. As a farmer, I need the rain. I cannot believe how dry, how hot it has become. Right. So I'm going to take whatever's coming my way and be grateful for whatever we receive. We're going to continue. You guys are hanging way behind that. What's that? Oh, because we're short, you know? Look at shoulder to shoulder. Oh, we got to be shoulder to shoulder. Okay. Hi, I just met you, but now we're gonna get all up and close and comfortable here
besties now.
I know. All right. So before we go, I just threw out your name, your first name. Who are you? And let's have a little introduction of
that's a
what
great
you
question.
do. Yeah, I don't know who I am yet either. I'm still trying to figure that out. But
I think we all do.
Okay.
Every day. So my name's Elizabeth Gutierrez. I am your local real estate here on the Central Coast, and I love educating and helping families and investors invest and educate in real estate.
Right. And how long have you been doing it?
So I've been doing it. I started the real estate side of it since 2019. I actually got my real estate license December 25th, which Christmas Day of 2018, but I've been doing mortgage loans since back in the day, since 2005.
What mortgage lender did you start with?
So I started with a company called Capital Mortgage Services. It's a corresponding lender, so we did everything in-house. I started from, you know, taking the application to ordering appraisal, everything. Nowadays, you send everything out. So, yeah.
It's the world of land. Right. Or purchasing or, you know, loans has become, it's like farming. It's become
for sure.
Way more complicated than realistically it needs to be.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, you know, who do you go to? Who do you trust? I mean, this is, you know, land ownership, home ownership, whatever, land, home, whatever. You know, I'm the kind of person that just needs a piece of soil and a tent, and I'll call that home.
Right, but unfortunately, it doesn't work that way in the real estate business.
No, but at the same time, land is important to me. But I know a home, you know, in general, you know, to purchase something in this world, in these markets, it's to have somebody that you can just trust and be able to ask any kind of questions, no matter where your finances are or what you can and cannot afford. I mean,
transparency is key.
Transparency is huge.
And communication is key.
And that's hard for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and because there's so much marketed stuff out there too. So I think people sometimes don't know if they're asking the right questions. Right. And I think even in farming and in food, it's almost the same, because it's like, don't be afraid, because these are like buying a home is one of the biggest things you'll ever do. Right.
And one of the biggest investments that anybody could ever make.
It's an American dream, right? An American dream that has become even more and more complicated to acquire. So, you know, I was fortunate enough, my husband and I, boyfriend at the time, in 1994, we had a list of bank repos in Heritage Ranch.
Oh, wow.
That we were able to acquire and purchase one of them. We signed in at a 12% interest rate because we were young and
Can
a high
you
risk.
repeat that again?
12% interest rate.
Right, because
okay?
people are freaking out with the 5 or 6%. I'm like, that's perfect rate right now. It's because they got spoiled during COVID with the 2 and 3%. So now everybody's expecting that 2 and 3%, but.
Yeah, we hustled.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we bought low though. I
Right.
mean, I can't even afford to buy that house back now because I sold it. I sold it in 2002.
But if you think about it, it wasn't that low back then with the minimum wage. I mean,
No.
I was getting like $3.75 minimum wage when I started working, and now obviously.
How old are you?
Yeah, we're young. We're young still.
I honor my age. I'm 50. I'm almost 51. And so, yeah, I mean,
I just turned 45.
Right on. See, so we're in the same group.
Yeah.
No. And I was 19 when I purchased. And why?
Me too.
Because
Actually, I was 18 years old when I bought my first house.
19 with my boyfriend, husband now. But the thing about it is for us, it was we dropped out of college. But the money that we had saved to continue to go to college.
Right.
We used that money to purchase a home.
Right.
It was, both of us knew that in order to stay here and to come back home to our parents, because we both wanted, that's
Right.
honestly my mom and my grandma is the reason why I came back home from Arizona, grew up here and came back home as fast as I could, we were going to have to invest in something sustainable that was going to be able to help us be able to afford to stay here, right? So instead of putting that money into college, I know it's not for everyone, but it was the right thing for us. But at the same time, we also realized at that time too, our mortgage was less than rent.
Oh, yeah.
And so, we hustled. We started paying double on our mortgage payments because we both were doing it. And then within a few years, we refinanced.
Right.
And guess what? I bought a farm with
There
what we
you go.
what we refinanced. And by the age of 20, I was farming, and I was being able to, that home became that investment into my farm.
Right.
And so it's crazy to look back at it now and go, yeah, everybody looked at us because we were young, we were high risk, we were, didn't really have credit. And my father-in-law, I was very fortunate
enough,
enough,
responsibility,
co-signed for us, because I'll be honest with you, I think I was more afraid of him than I was any bank. So he knew by co-sign
that he was going to keep you on track.
He was 6'4", 235 pounds of pure muscle. There was no messing with that man,
Right.
And so that was the only way we could do it,
Right.
And in his mind too, it was his way of getting us home. But so grateful that we did it, and we did it against the odds. We did it just like you said. Can you repeat that again? Everybody was telling us no.
Right.
Everybody was telling, and I knew the moment we signed those escrow papers, it wasn't like, oh, look at me, I have a house. It was like, oh, I have to work more.
Yes, and I've repeatedly said this plenty of times. Unfortunately, family and friends or whatever, they see a big liability. They're like, oh, it's debt. You're getting into debt. That's a high mortgage payment or whatever. But in reality, it's actually an investment. And look at, you started from a house and you got a farm, and now look at where you're at now. And it's a stepping stone.
This building is still from what we sold that house for in 2002.
Wow.
We still have money left over, and it's locked away, for our children.
Right.
But we still have money available from the sale of that house.
Right.
It was a lake house and Heritage Ranch, and I'm looking again. I want another house out there, but it's a different purposes now. Before it was, I wanted to go put
survival mode.
Yeah, I wanted to after farming all day long, I wanted to put my chair in the lake and watch the lake levels rise and fall.
Right.
Now I want to go out and just float.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and just
enjoy.
mind check and be on the lake. But, and again, I'm super excited to have you here, because I also know that, Miguel produces a podcast for you as well. There's just so much to this. We were giggling because there was a post on Facebook about, looking for somebody to produce a podcast for them. And it was funny because, Miguel, somebody said, well, Melanie does a podcast. And Miguel's all, yeah, I do hers too. And it was like, and he does hers too. Okay. So it's funny because it takes a village, right?
It does.
And this is what this show and what I've always been about. I am here in this community as a farmer because, yes, I believe in it. My family has been from here. I'm fifth generation of Paso Robles,
Right.
both sides, mom and dad. And it's one of those places that if you're willing to put the effort into it and work for it, it happens.
Right.
And look at just what you're...
Yeah, I always say, si se puede. You know,
Yeah,
Miguel
sí.
knows that. He's all like, si se puede. Like, basically, anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
As long as you have the will and the courage to succeed, it's consistency, and then eventually it gets there.
You know, people ask, well, why do you say this area? And I said, because it's the people that you don't see.
Right.
It's the people that are the foundation and the fabric
Right.
of this community that help. If we're going to invest in it, they're going to push us and they're going to support us if we show up and be consistent with
Right.
what
Right.
we are putting out there. And
Right. And not only that, but the podcast right here, you're educating people about farmland, and you're passionate about what you do, so you're portraying it as well. So I think that's
this, I
exciting.
mean, so 2007, I started a radio show called Earth Talk Radio. And what it was about was standing behind the counter, standing in my stores, educating about what something was. It was crazy to me in a 12-hour day, because that's about what I
Right.
work, right? I was repeating myself so many times,
Right.
over and over and over
Right.
again, right?
Right.
And it was crazy to me how I was growing things that were suited to this area. You know, our weather, our ability to, plant it in the ground and our soil produces,
Right.
right? But it was shocking to me, even from being from here and then going and putting myself out into retail, was how many people just don't understand where food comes from, what land is, all of that. So that push behind that radio show was just that, was to try to alleviate myself from having to repeat myself so many
Right.
times. But then it became more of this interactive, I would stimulate the conversation, right? And then the questions and all these topics became, and then it became even more of a bigger platform. It was beyond just me educating. It became us working together and sharing. My original co-host at that time retired from farming. And so I left Earth Talk in the history and then created Nature's Neighbor. And so Nature's Touch, Nature's Neighbor, took it to a local radio station here, pulled it off of there because of support. I didn't want to support what a majority of what was going on at that radio station. I pulled it. And I got to called up Miguel, and I have to tell you, it's been a year, and it's been super fun. And the different connections, even this way, has become even more exciting. But it's even more different now because things are changing so fast.
Oh, yeah.
It's, I can't just teach people how to grow a tomato or how to harvest a tomato anymore. I have to teach them now about water use, really water use. I mean, look at people's water bills.
Right.
Land use. I got to teach them, the legality of everything.
Right.
It's not just thinking I'm going to plant a plant in it and go. Sadly, too, is in the structure of farming in California, as well as land use and the land availability, that has changed dramatically.
Yes.
And so when I tell people, we used to be in this building, and then I sized my store down several years ago just because the cost of doing business was too unrealistic. It's unrealistic because how do I recoup a $4,600 PG&E bill in selling tomatoes? Right? I can hustle all day long. Yes, I got my side gigs.
Right.
But what am I doing this for if it's not even generating enough of the income to be able to sustain it, right?
Yeah.
So right there, was sizing it down. But the biggest fundamental reason why I sized down was because in the 4 years previous to that, every week I was getting phone calls from long-term farmers that I had done business with. I had either sold them plants or I had purchased their product for resale in my stores. We had collaborated on something. There's a lot of, I didn't have to talk to them every day, but it was that season and we would talk, and it was like no time had passed.
Yeah.
There was every week, at least one, if not 5, I was getting phone calls of farmers saying, I can't do this anymore. I can't hold on to this land. I can't afford this land. I don't have anybody that is going to be able to carry this on. I'm sick. I can't do it. My dad passed away. My mom passed away. It was so incredibly overwhelming. And then to stop and look and go, I have all this refrigeration. I have all this shelf space. What am I doing? Yeah, I can get junk. I can just go to the distributors and fill it with any packaged good. But what am I doing this for? It was always based upon the soil that we stand on.
Right.
And it's crazy to me to see how many farms have sold.
Right.
But the sad thing is, and you probably see this, is they sell, but they never stay.
No.
They're quickly pulling the stuff out, redeveloping it, minor use permit, changing what it is, and off to the races comes the multifamily homes. And it's not farming anymore.
Or whatever.
Yeah, or retail, commercial, or office industrial, you know, like that, you know, or now it's small scale manufacturing, you know, and so it's crazy to me to see in a short period of time how real estate has changed.
Right.
It's changed my industry.
Right.
Quickly. And the reason is because land values. I mean, just like I told you, I still have a nest egg because of the original sale of my first house.
Right.
I bought that house for $69,000.
That's crazy.
In 1994. I sold it in 2004.
Oh, wow.
So, do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, but where did that value come from?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I'm telling you right now, in all the wealth that I've accumulated and trying to hold on to, right? I could not afford the value of that house now.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not anywhere near maintained like it was when my husband and I had it. And so it's like the depreciation should have come down and it should be even less than what I bought it from. But it's not there. But do you see what I'm saying? It's like, how does a farmer, you know, anybody that has land, how in today's real estate world, how do we afford to hold on?
Right. And that's a great question. And unfortunately, you know, it just depends on the circumstances of the individuals. Like you said, you know, it's building that little foundation little by little. But even then, the cost of goods, you know, the water bills, like you said, there's a water memorandum depending on which part of the county you are in. Like if we're talking about like Los Osos and, you know, Cambria, they have a water memorandum that they have land that is just sitting there and they can't do anything.
Yep.
They can't plant, they can't build, they can't do
anything.
absolutely nothing. Right now, there's a new memorandum that came out for vineyards. So no more vineyards, you know. And if you have a vineyard and you haven't used it in the last 2 years, you know, you are not able to restart it again. So there goes ag again, where if you don't use it, then it gets depleted.
Yep.
And it just goes like that. And then also zoning. Zoning is very, very important. Even though San Luis Obispo County is a sanctuary to trying to keep ag land lots, unfortunately, there's investors that come in. Unfortunately, there's people complaining about affordable housing. So now here they're building more housing. There's a lot of things that come into place. But even when there's ag zoning, you can't plant or you can't build. So it's just sitting there. It's just for animals, for cattle or whatever. So you're limited. And that's why it's very, 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 very important to get an agent that understands zoning and what you could potentially do in that piece of land and what you cannot do. Because a lot of the times people have a misconception. They're like, oh, I'm going to buy a piece of land and I'm going to build my house and I'm going to farm and I'm going to do this and that. And then reality check comes in and they bought this piece of land and it's just sitting there.
Yep.
And they can't do nothing.
It's refreshing to actually hear I've land consulted for farms for years. And it's refreshing to hear you talk the way that you are. It's because there's been years that realtors would not talk like this, would not express the knowledge of, you know, the urgency ordinances over the basin or, you know, like you said, Los Osos. And I mean, I feel for people in Los Osos right now because, I mean, Josh is there, my co-host. You know, they talk about sewer, I think, every other day. And it's like, people don't understand. It's like, you're not going to be able to flush your toilets here pretty soon. Like, you know what I mean? It's, you know, there's that. But even just in the North County, I mean, there's properties now on the east side that their wells are at 400 feet, which is ridiculous. Right. And at the same time, everyone around them is at 800 feet.
Right.
You know?
And this is why I tell my clients, education is key. Every property, depending on the previous owner, how deep that they do their well. I mean, it's not like in the masses, like the city, oh, here's water for everybody. No, it's an individual owner. How far deep did they dug for this particular well? Also, how many gallons per minute, and in case of a fire. But people
don't realize,
they don't.
Where does the city of Paso get their water?
Right.
And so that's, that's a whole nother, we can go on a whole show on that one. But the sad thing is again, you're right. There's just so much layers upon layers. And my craziness is I can't believe that our community isn't really sounding the alarm. Because just like you said, San Luis Obispo County has been known as this oasis of agriculture, right? The rolling hills, the cattle industry, the vineyards, as we head south, it's, the strawberries and the Napa cabbages. I mean, that's huge on the ag report. But at the same time, even with the amount of rain that we've received, it's not enough. No. It's not enough to just sustain the basics and not only that,
but when then we get rain, we get flooded, and then the crops get messed up. Like in Rio Grande, it got flooded over there.
Infrastructure. We have no infrastructure that can maintain whatever we do receive, right? And it's like we continuously, look at what ages we're in. You and I have seen things rapidly change.
Oh, yeah.
But what I notice overall is this continuous kicking the bucket down the road.
Right.
It's like somebody's going to have to deal with it. It's just not going to be us. Let's just keep passing it down.
Right.
And that's where I think, like with me, I'm trying to create this resilience and educating, like, people understand that this is there. But if you start building infrastructure, you start investing in where you're standing, what you have, and grow from that instead of having to go here and have to go there and we got to build bigger here or not here. We got to be smarter than what we're dealing with because, growing up here, we never irrigated anything. It was minimal. On the east side, we had sod farms and alfalfa farms, minimal, not a lot. But on the west side or, down the Salinas, it was all dry farmed. We can't even, you hear a little bit of dry farming, but you don't really hear how it was done.
Right.
It was all about staying where you are, building the soil, and only using what you have. Don't think that you're going to get it from somewhere else. And building it with the tools that you had too.
Utilizing whatever
utilizing what you have. But it's crazy because that knowledge has changed too. It's everybody's, again, it's the same thing. It's like they're looking for something to fix it for them instead of it, really learning from the people that are doing it, really learning from how do we afford to do this better and how do we grow from what we already have instead of thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. Because that, to me, like, just thinking about this, what is coming, when it comes, when you just hit something in a memory of water. Because I was appointed to RAC, Water Resource Advisory Committee, and I still sit there. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not active in it.
You should.
I Zoom the meetings in and I listen because we're there. And by the time
education is key.
By the time it gets to the Board of Supervisors, it's been tweaked and changed. And, it's. I'm there for education. I'm there to educate. Outside of there, I drive people to the websites. I drive people to the minutes. I drive people to everything. But it's like one of those things, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't guarantee him to drink.
Yeah, and you brought a good point on that because I know this is off subject.
It's okay.
But about the roundabout. They were talking about the
Templeton roundabout.
Okay, so it's very important that our community gets involved and, voice your opinion, your concerns, because if you don't go to these city council meetings and let them know what your concerns are or your issues are, then they can just get away with stuff.
Okay, let's go back a little bit on that one. Okay, so
I was there, and finally it's not going to go through.
Miguel, we are going to hire whatever neighbor is in the Vineyard housing community, because whoever that person is, he or she can rally the troops.
Oh yeah, I know.
He's the one who got everybody together to go, hey, they're gonna put a roundabout there. So and everybody's like, wait, what? Like it was, and they were gonna take land from neighbors and stuff. It was. I sit on another board, so this is the only reason why I know this. But at the same time, the community rallied.
Right.
But do you know what our school district just did?
Yeah, they're going to switch schools.
They just voted to move the middle school to Vineyard, and then all middle school. No, middle school to Vineyard, and all elementary is coming to in town.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But we have no safe routes to school anymore. We don't have buses, so there is going to be middle school. There's a lot of different times that traffic is going to be moving through there now. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget the poor gentleman that lives in the housing complex over there. He said, well, just don't have a heart attack at 3 o'clock because you're not getting an ambulance in here. And I agree. I don't think the roundabout was the answer. Right. But there needs to be, again, Vineyard was supposed to be the high school. We were supposed to move Templeton High School out there. Right. And look what happened. Right. And then there's now, we need money. Yeah. Wait. How many times did we have money before? I mean, let's talk about bonds. I feel bad for anybody that, buys a house in this community, San Francisco, and they get their property taxes put into their mortgage, right? Right. And then all of a sudden the bonds start kicking up, and you're like, wait, I budgeted for this. It's already in my mortgage payment. Where are all these other fees? Right. More bonds. Right. But yet, not a single one of these people are asking, where are all the money
going to?
We've already passed bonds for the same things. Mm-hmm. I keep asking that question. That's a whole other question
but
too.
Yes, but get involved.
Because you have to get involved, because I commend the person that got those people involved, because I was like, and they came educated, they came well prepared. Yes. I'm like, can we have more people like that? Yes. Because honestly, that's how things get changed. Right. People think if they just vote on a piece of paper and put it in the ballot box, that's going to be good. No.
Or just not how this works. Or just letting it go,
Somebody else is going to fix it. Somebody else. And that's a lot of change. And you remember that whole area out there was all safflower fields and hay fields. And it's again, I have to remind those people, because they were like, well, we bought, and it's been Vineyard. And I'm like, you realize that was supposed to be a high school. That big old open field that you don't want any lights on? That was supposed to be our new football and track field. Like, they're like, wait, what? I'm like, yes. And they're like, well, how come we didn't know this? I'm like, well, probably because before you bought, you didn't go to TAG or, the county, because that's what those were already zoned for, were already planned out for. But I don't ever expect people to try to keep up with the amount of change and everything that's going on. It's constantly changing. And again, I don't see an easy answer of like, get involved in this or do this. You just have to continuously have your ear to the ground. Right. And if there's something that you're wanting to stay here for a lifetime, you have to really put your ear to the ground. And you have to invest more of your time and being involved in your community to understand what's going on.
I always say that education is key. Constantly, I've said this plenty of times, Who Moved My Cheese? There's a book called Who Moved My Cheese about adapting to change. And people don't understand. People get stuck in the past or the comfort of where they're at, thinking like, oh, that's never going to happen to me. But unfortunately, gas prices are going up. The cost of living is going up. Everything's going up. And you have to adapt to change and be educated and know like what you're putting.
So speaking of change, so my grandma just retired last week from the Black Oak Motel. Oh, wow. 65 years. 66. 5 years. Okay, she's 90, gonna be 91 on April 23rd. Wow. She still drives. She's still on it like you would not believe. She's mad right now because she doesn't. It was time, right? But she didn't want to quit. She's out looking for another job. She's telling me I have to hire her. And I laugh because everybody's like, oh my gosh, how sad. Like, oh, she's a head housekeeper and she had to work this long to finally retire. I'm like, no.
She wanted to.
This was her choice. Why was it her choice? Because her biggest thing was everything is changing. Everything is going up. What I know is the job that I've been doing. Right. I work hard to have luxuries, and have time off. And that was her thing. It's just like, I can't say I'm going to retire today and then tomorrow my bills stay the same. Right. Just like what you just said. Yeah. Gas. It is funny to me how many people have done that. Oh, how exciting, wonderful, that know us. But people that don't know us, the first thing out of their mouth is how sad. Because why would somebody want to work 65 years? And just like that is My grandma
Or if
was
they see you progressing, you're so lucky.
Oh, it must be nice.
But they don't see all the behind the scenes and all the struggles of it.
When I was a teenager, I was not always well behaved. And so my mom and dad would be like, fine, go to work with your grandma. And I'm like, fine, I'm going to go get my own job, you know, kind of thing. Holy moly, I will always respect a housekeeper because nobody understands that work until you do it.
Oh, yeah.
And especially when it's, you know, the maids at hotels and what they have constant, and my grandma.
It's a never-ending job.
It's a never-ending job. It never ends. And But my grandma never complained. She showed up. She, you know, kept going. And the changing of our cultures and our society, she just kept going because she'd always tell me, Mija, it's a job. You do your job. It's not going to always be what you think it's going to be.
Right.
You go to work to make it better. You go to work to make yourself better.
Right.
And it's funny to me, like that's, again, right there is how society is like, oh, how sad. No. You don't understand. This is her choice. And we laugh because we've been asking her, Grandma, don't you want to go? Nope.
What a blessing to be at that age and still be motivated. And
so they had a big party. They had a big party on Thursday. It was like a beautiful party, right? The Messia families who own the Black Oak threw this beautiful party. They brought a mariachi band that was like, I get chills. Just their voices in Spanish and in English was just, it was amazing. Just so beautiful. And, you know, a cappella to the music they were playing, to the trumpets. It was amazing. Okay. Right. My grandma's 94-year-old sister, she's going to kill me for just saying her age. 94-year-old sister and my grandma were out rocking out, dancing on the dance floor. And I'm laughing because all of us were like, yeah, and everybody's wondering if we're going to still be able to keep up with them. And it's not like, and my grandma says it's because I've always kept going.
Right.
My mind is sharp because I keep going. She's like, I forget things, but I think I might want to. Like, you know, and it's like
she remembers what's important.
Yeah, but again, that it speaks volumes to, I'm very blessed, yes, because she's my grandmother. But there's many people like that still that do go behind the radar and you don't know, but they are still the fabric of what is still being held together here. Right. And again, there's so much there, that knowledge that we have to capture, that they don't have the ability to go and call Miguel and say, let's do a podcast so I can remember, right? But at the same time, it's you and I.
You should bring her to your podcast.
I know, she'll be
the
the star.
She can be a motivational speaker.
I know, that would actually be fun. She'll get all that. No, you're not doing that. But I would love to. And that's actually a great idea because it's you know, and
inspirational.
Everything that is going on right now, I'll be completely honest with you. Her brother, my great uncle Cuco, in the 70s and 80s, he was known as what today is a coyote. You know, but at the same time, I will never forget when he passed away. I was going into middle school, that the parking lot at St. Rose Church was so full of every human being that he ever touched in his life, paying their respects to him for the life that helped be better that he provided. Right. And so like that right there alone is like to know this culture of land and values and understand it's not just in money.
No, it's a legacy you're leaving behind.
It is, but at the same time, it's also in real estate, is what I'm saying. It's people don't understand that it's, you know, you can buy a home and you can sell it maybe for a little bit more, but where we put our roots down, and really create what I'm sharing, like
a
foundation, right, to be able to carry it on, and it is making those smart decisions in the beginning. You know, it's not taking...
To all the youngsters out there.
It is. Don't go to college. Buy a house. No, just kidding. Just kidding. But yes, do it. Oh, because, I mean, I'm that kind of mother that I'm like, I told them, my husband and I both told them, you know, we're not going to tell you what to do, but we're going to tell you what we did and why we did it. But I'm going to tell you, if you generate college debt, you're paying for it. Right. Not a loan, not, you know, with our name on it, you know, but if you save your money and you want to go and invest it in real estate, or if you want to invest it in a business that's sustaining, we would be happy to put our names behind that. But in education, this is your path and your journey. That's how you're gonna do it. And both of my children are college grads. My daughter almost, but both of them worked all through college. They're not, they're doing both.
Right.
Because they're not going to college to find themselves. They're going to college to get that next step.
Right.
That's all they're, for a reason. And it's purposeful and it's not wasteful.
Right.
Because again, I don't know of anybody right now that can say, I'm going to college, I'm going to get out and make more money than the money that they invested in putting it into that. I don't know how anybody can say, that their education is really giving them a foundation to build something sustaining.
There's different levels of education. I always say, like college degrees or whatever, depending on if you have a passion about it and you're going to really pursue that, all for it, right? But if you are uncertain and you're just wasting your time, you could have, like you said, there's trades, or you can start your own business or invest in other things. I mean, college is not for everyone, just like investing is not for everyone.
No.
People investing in real estate, it's a big commitment. I always say this and many other podcasts. Believe it or not, like when you say you and your husband, right? You guys were living together. You were not legally married.
No, that was a sin. I know.
And I didn't know this, but I'm just saying, in general. So you're living with your significant other, but the minute that you hear the word marriage, it's like, whoa, like it's a big commitment. Even though it's just a piece of paper, you're already doing the job. You're already living together, living in sin, whatever. But that little piece of paper scares them. The same thing with ownership in real estate. For whatever reason, they're like, it's a big mortgage, or I'm not going to qualify or whatever. But they're already making somebody else's mortgage payment. They're already renting. They're already making that commitment, not to themselves, but to somebody else. Why not do it for yourself? Yeah,
I agree. And it shouldn't be so terrifying. It shouldn't be so unknown too. Because there's so much, and I'm so glad you're here, because that it needs to be more open and welcoming to anybody. If you have a job and you're saving your money and you're not blowing it on things that are frivolous and you really want to sustain yourself, there's nothing better. Tax breaks. I mean, anything that is going to build your foundation, and that is buying a home.
You're building equity.
You're building equity.
And not only that, but I mean, this is worst case scenario. Your mortgage payment is your worst case scenario right now. It can only get better if you refinance or, sell. I mean, it could get worse if you get a line of credit or refinance to get cash out. But another thing that I always tell my clients, do not cash out just to blow it. Go on a vacation.
What do you mean? You don't want to refinance and go on vacation, buy a new boat, buy a new trailer?
Nope. Because all that stuff deteriorates in value. And instead, invested in either buying another property, building an ADU, beautifying your property, creating your farm. That's what I have right now. My chickens, my goats, and my trees, fruit trees. But, things that are going to generate more wealth for you and building that foundation, not just something that you're just going to blow it out.
Where do you live?
Atascadero.
Right on. Where did you grow up?
So I was born in Compton. It's kind of like a long story.
Right on.
I was born in Compton, lived there, then went to East LA. We got Boyle Heights over there. Got into some, not me personally, but our house got shot. We went back to South Central LA. We're living in Manchester and Vermont, and then the Rodney King riots came in, and my dad was like, okay, this is enough LA. So we moved to Palm Springs, and unfortunately, he ended up passing away there. Somebody ran over him, and from there, my life completely changed, and now I'm here in we came here in Paso Robles since 1998, August of 1998. So I was here my senior year. I literally lost 4 years of my high school. So 2.5. So I did my 4 years of high school in a year and a half. I still was able to graduate and walk with everybody.
Liberty?
No, actually at the high school.
You did?
Yeah, so I had to do summer school, 0 period, 7th period. I mean, these sacrifices.
I graduated from Liberty High.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did, because I didn't want to stay in the classroom.
Yeah.
And at that time, they didn't have homeschool.
Right.
So I graduated with Bob Rago and all the amazing teachers that I had. So I went to school 1 day a week.
Oh, nice.
So,
Yeah, no, I was there bright and early at 6:30 in the morning, and then staying till late. But I was able to do it. So
that's awesome. That's an incredible story. My
nutshell.
my grandma's side of the family. As a child, I would have to go to Pico Rivera.
Oh, nice.
And so
that's where my dad used to take us to. There's a Mexican rodeo over there, so that's where we used to take us.
I've been there, so we might have ran into each other, because that's I've had cousins and stuff down. I had cousins there, and then San Bernardino. Yeah, my grandparents, my grandma's parents were migrant workers, and so they left children on the way up and down California. So this is all this whole state. It's funny. My grandma will talk about. Again, it's the benefit of having a 91-year-old grandmother of she remembers when LA used to be orange groves, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has
crazy.
Changed
so much. And even just LA area has grown so much, the orange groves that you were mentioning. Also, when I moved to Palm Springs, now I go back and I don't even recognize the place. I moved here in 98, and just from 98 till now, I mean, it's a huge difference.
Well, look at Paso.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm saying.
Since 2002 to current, it's just changed dramatically, and it's inevitable, right? Change is progress is where things happen, but I don't know. I'm that kind of person that obviously I'm from here. I'm not that person that's you have to be here to be a local. I'm not that. I love when
local.
You are a local. But I like when we have different influence or different culture or different diversity, because honestly, that's what Paso's always been. My great grandparents hung out with Pederowski. And it's and to understand who Pederowski is to understand old Hollywood. And then but yet then you have such different cultures that commingle in, and that's what makes our San Luis Obispo County, but preferably the North County, so grand, because it's still so different, but yet it's changed fast. But compared to what you just said, I mean, we're changing, but not in compared to Palm Springs and Palm area. I mean, that is light switch. Oh yeah, and it's completely. And I think that we're ever going to have a slowdown. We always do. In this area, we do this peaks and valleys kind of thing. I think gas prices are definitely going to start really changing us. Because how do people afford to go to work around here, And that's, I'm seeing it in the agriculture world, whether it be, grapes or orchards, people can't afford to put diesel in their tractors anymore. I mean, then everybody's like, oh, they should have went electric. How about the fact that nobody could afford to plug them in? Their true-up bills have just kicked in, and all of them were like, wait, we went solar, but my true-up bill is more than what I was paying in power. So, I mean, there's just so much to that. So agriculture is drastically changing. What's going to happen? Land's going to start selling, are we going to see another big boom again of building? I don't know, because of all these ordinances that have been placed upon, the land. I don't know how people are going to continue to be able to do it. Again, I'm talking about this. Do I see positive? Well, like you said in the roundabout, people got up and they didn't want it, and they spoke. Is people want it to be like this? Do they want to have it hard to do something, or it's hard, you can't hold on to anything anymore? Okay, then if that's what the majority is going to want, that's what we're going to end up having to do, right? But if people want to make a difference and they want to educate, how do they stay here? How do they get better? How do they simplify their life? Then people are going to have to step up.
We went to, last year I went to the housing market update in San Luis Obispo. There's going to be another one coming up next month in April, which I will be attending as well. It was kind of sad, and at the same time it was kind of exciting, because people are speaking up and letting them know we don't want to build up, because that's another thing that they're starting to say, that they want housing to be building up in San Luis Obispo County. So high risers or apartments. I mean, they started a little bit in San Luis where they have apartments on top and businesses in the bottom, but people are like, no, we're going to lose our view to the Madonna mountain hills, the views that we have protected for so long, And then they're like, okay, well, let's expand sideways. And they're like, no, because they're protecting the land for ag or animals or whatever it is. Now, they were saying, some of the people, the sad part is that some of these younger kids are saying, like, we don't even want to have kids anymore because we can't afford it. We can't afford to buy a house. We can't afford to raise a kid in this community. So now it's like the question, what do we do? You know?
No,
what do we do?
Well, we're seeing it in agriculture. I mean, that's the biggest thing with, the older generations. Their children didn't want to carry it on. Some have grandchildren that, might have learned a little bit, but weren't ready to hold on to it yet. But a majority,
or they don't have that same passion.
But there was a majority of people that didn't even have grandchildren that would even be able to pass it down.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of people that, we've had, caretakers or ranch hands or, people that have been maintaining these farms for so long that, yes, they were citizens. They got their citizenship. But when they wanted to retire, they didn't want to retire here. They want to go back home, and they're leaving. And so that was the biggest thing too, is seeing that shift, because it was, even though the same rancher, same owner had been the owner, he didn't know what to pass on because he wasn't the one that was doing it. It was, he had other people doing it for him, and then when that person was done,
then who comes?
Who comes? Yeah. Like, nobody knew how to do anything. And so again, that's what a bigger change, where there isn't the next generation coming up to hold on to what it is. And that's
what I'm saying. That's the sad part. It's like, what do you do? Like, you're stuck.
You're stuck. And at the same time, there's a situation in Napomo that I just heard of, that it's things like this. So Napomo is drastically in need of affordable housing.
Right.
Affordable housing starting at $900,000. Affordable housing.
Yeah, the whole the Dana.
So I'm this person because I'm like, why do we have to develop so much that we're just destroying what's naturally there? Right. I question that. I mean,
and the trees.
I can't afford the land.
They're gonna move them somewhere else. I'm like, really?
Oh, you know exactly.
Oh yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, trust me, I've been very involved.
Okay, it's already $900,000 to build these places. Like, okay, now we're going to keep adding more cost to it, and that's my sadness. It's like, where is the value in what we're doing? Because now they've taken some of the houses out so that they could keep the trees there. And then, grateful, but you and I both know you can't build around oak trees safely, because now who's going to pay the fire insurance or the liability insurance when that tree comes down?
Especially right now.
With
insurance.
And
that's another issue.
And I'm that person. I don't want I don't want that land to be developed in the sense, but we need affordable housing, right?
Supposedly.
And $900,000, who's going to be able to afford? I can't afford a $900,000 house. And the thing is to think about what job you have to be able to afford that. That's not affordable. You know what I mean? So what are we doing? Because if that's in the name of affordable housing, we need to fix something, because that's not what it is. I think we need to go back to the way I grew up, with all of us living in the same house. I know, right? I don't know if I'd wish that on anybody, but if that's why is it that we're not creating that?
Now, but believe it or not, a lot of people, that's how they are able to buy houses nowadays. They combine two families, they buy one, kind of help each other on. One family helps one, and then next thing you know, they buy another one, and then the other family goes on. It's like creative financing, I would say. But
smart. Very smart.
It's like, what do you do? Because like you said, affordable housing is not $900,000 right now. I would say, I have a lot of first-time home buyers, a lot, like 10 of them right now that are pre-approved up to $500,000. But
that's the average medium income.
Yes,
for this area.
Exactly. But is there $500,000 homes available for sale? No, there is nothing out there. I've had people sacrifice and are buying in Avenel and Shandon, San Miguel, which Shandon, San Miguel is starting to be not affordable anymore. You can't find anything less than $500,000 unless it's something that's only a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or whatever. Even at the lake, I was looking earlier today, you know, just checking because every day I check the
looking
market.
too.
And yeah, there's a couple of them, but even then, it's like as soon as they come in, they're gone. They're gone. So
and that's the thing. Like, where do they give? You know, and again, it's like
Miguel's nodding his head.
Yeah, Miguel knows. Yeah, you're like and the scary thing is like, as an employer, right? Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, it's like the cost of employing people is going up.
Right.
So, I mean, people are really starting to see it also now in their paychecks. Like, you can get paid $25 an hour, right? That's a good, you know, starting out. But you're losing more of your income, anyways, due to income taxes. And so, how do you make this work? And that's, I think, what we're really pushing at is, yes, we're going to talk about all this. Yes, it sounds like doom and gloom, but we've got ourselves here. And the only way we're going to get ourselves out is if we all get together. Like, I love this because I'm going to call it like the roundabout situation, right? Because it is. Like, I want to hire that guy. Like, can we get that guy, whoever, how he got his community on board and paying attention? Yeah, we need a podcast. It's all because of the roundabout, right? You know, because it speaks volumes.
Right.
It does. It's, you know, if we all just start understanding, and I think that whatever COVID did to us, like, it divided us, right? Like, I feel like people don't communicate.
That's funny that you said that, because before, I always tell everybody, do not talk about religion or politics. And now after COVID, I'm like, do not talk about politics, religion, and COVID. You know, because everybody had, you know, they would take offense if you didn't use a mask or if you did use a mask. And it was just like a big old commotion on that.
Yeah, are you vaccinated? I never thought we'd walk around and be like, are you vaccinated? No, you can't come over. Like, what the?
Yeah,
where did we become?
So that's another topic that we add to the politics and the
But it's serious.
Religion.
Like, it's where did we become the society?
Right.
Like, it you know, you always hear, like, divide and conquer, right?
But you're right. COVID did divide a lot of people.
It did. And it was, so we got there really quickly under fear. But why can't we?
The power of the word, I would say.
Power of the word. And then at the same time, why aren't we better together? Why are we not working to go out, you know, protesting? I don't have time to walk a sidewalk. I would be more active in gathering with people and sitting down and going, okay, this is what I have. This is what you have. This is what I need to protect. This is what I'm willing to give to keep us moving forward. Right. All of us moving forward. And
it's like a piece of grain, you know. Right? Everybody has their own piece of grain that they can add to.
And that's, I think that in all of this, what's the interest rate at right now? Like, if
actually, so buyer, that's a great question. It's been all over the place.
It's up and down.
It's been up and down. So just, I always tell everybody, check every day on a daily basis. I mean, it was in the low.
Do you think it's weird how much it's been fluctuating?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So last week it was like 6.22. This week we're thinking it's going to go down a little bit. It was down to 5.5, 5.25. I mean, some people were even getting 4.99 depending on the program, because it all depends on the program, the credit score, and your loan to value. And a lot of the times people think like, oh, the rate is 6%, and they think it's across the board. No, it's not. Are you refinancing cash out? Are you refinancing rate of term? Are you buying? Is it down payment assistance? I mean, all these different things that come into place depending on the rate.
No,
I mean, depending on your circumstances, what determines the rate.
Yeah, and again, it's like they always say, what are the most stressful things you could go through? Buying a house, getting married, a death. What else? That's it, right? I think that's what it is. A death in your life, or buying a house and and getting married is one of the most stressful things you can go through in life, right? Or buying a business was the other one that I heard. But it's funny because I'll be honest with you, because we had a really good real estate agent, and we still do, and we also had a really good lender who explained everything in that very first time. Yeah. I mean, I wish that what we learned the month of buying our house, in the very first one, we've bought and sold a couple of times since then, but if we were to have that in a high school class, I think society would be a lot different.
Oh, different.
You know, because, I mean, there was...
Not only that, but, I mean, understanding credit and finances, I mean, budgeting, these are things that should be priority in high school, I think. You know,
Right.
I taught that to my kids. And I try to do that when I do career day and stuff like that at Judkins Middle School. But you can only teach them so much in the 1 hour. You know, it's like
it's got to
be something that
got to be
consistent.
continuous.
Yeah.
It's got, and it's funny to me that our basic high school education doesn't have that.
Right.
And it needs it because fixed loans, fluctuation, interest. It's like all of these things, and understanding credit right there would be huge because
credit is huge right now, especially because nowadays you need it to rent, to buy, and if you're getting any jobs that are with finances, they run your credit because they want to make sure that you're not going to be a liability for them.
No.
So
my husband's a property manager.
There you go.
I'm like, honey, I want that house. Like, then he goes, you can't afford it. I'm like, what do you mean you can't afford it? He's like, you got to show that you can make 3 times. 3 times.
That's why hey, that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. So everybody, it's easier to buy a house than it is to rent right now, because to buy a house, you at least have to be 50% of your income. So if you make $5,000, your payment can be up to $2,500. But when you're renting, unfortunately, you have to make $7,500, and so you have to make 3 times whatever the rent is.
Isn't that all? Like, honestly, like I thought he was kidding, and I'm like, because I thought he was like telling me, I'm like, no, honey, I make that. Wait, no, not. You will never qualify.
Yeah, and that's why I tell everybody it's easier to qualify for a home loan than it is to rent a house, guys.
Mm-hmm. And see, I can't believe we're having this conversation because that's literally what I did. Like, it wasn't because, and I'm telling you, the reason why I did that was because we had a nest egg. It wasn't that much, but it was a nest egg, and I wanted to be able to not have to go to school. That was all the reason why I bought a house.
Right.
And because of making that big decision is why I'm standing here today. Like, and you come in and you're educating this, and that's what I'm trying to explain to people. It's not about just because you want. Sit back, look at the bigger picture. Like, we can sit here and easily share how important it is to put your feet into the soil. Buy something that is sustaining and not just throwing money at it for what if. A house or a property is not a what if. It is going to give you something in return.
It's starting. You started with a single family property, a single family home up at the lake. I mean, it was a drive to Paso Robles. It wasn't like something in town. So you made a sacrifice. And
gas was only 99 cents a gallon.
I know, back then, I know. But my point is, at that time, again, we were $3.25 minimum wage, so it's kind of the same thing if you think about it. It's just different time zones or time frames or whatever. But my point is that a lot of the times people have a different mentality where they want like a move-in ready, in town, $1 million house. And as much as I want to sell them the $1 million house, it's like, let's start what you can afford. Actually,
but I'm going to give you one other. I know buying a house is important, and I get what we're talking about, but I own a home. Okay, my husband's a property manager, but he's also a general contractor, right? And so all of our rentals get done. I hear my husband's tenants calling him all the time. Clint, I need I need this, I need this. As a homeowner,
right?
You know what I get when I call my property manager, also known as my husband? Call somebody or put a work order in. I'll see where your level is. So, as a homeowner, I don't get prioritized very well when it comes to getting things fixed in my homes.
and a normal homeowner, it's your responsibility, unfortunately. That's the difference between renting and owning.
I want to call somebody, Clint, will you come fix it?
Yeah.
Oops, I ran out of water.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm just kidding. Because there are perks, right? But at the end of the day, it's affordability. Right? And people
at the end of the day, whatever you invested in that property, it's tax deductible. You can use it in your taxes.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we're
I see the positive and everything.
No, my son is 23 years old, and he's had a good job. He's getting ready to go start another really good job, and it's crazy to me to see he just did his taxes, right? And he's filing single and zero, but he's only 23.
Right.
So he's not 25 yet, so he doesn't qualify for the earned income tax credit.
Right.
But Yet. He doesn't have credit because he hasn't went out and bought anything yet. Mm-hmm. You know, he's just been saving money and paying little things for living. But it's crazy. If he owned a home right now, he would actually be able to capture more of the money he's earning. Mm-hmm. He's not getting big tax return. He's not, because he doesn't get the earned income tax credit yet. Right. He's paying a huge percentage of tax.
Right.
But if he owned a home, he would have a larger. He would be able to capture more of his money that he's owned. Mm-hmm. Yes, he would have a bill to pay and a mortgage, but that's why he needs to have the right realtor, the right mortgage lenders, and be able to shop to understand what he can afford. Right. Yes, he would not be able to afford a move-in ready home, right? But at the same time, he's 23. Mm-hmm. Build it. Right. And look at the equity that, learn how to, you could go to Home Depot now and those guys teach you all kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have that when we were younger. So my husband had to learn the hard way.
Even little kids are starting, they have activities every first weekend of the month where they teach them how to build things.
And that's the thing. Like for me, in teaching food, right? Teaching if you're going to grow it, how to harvest it, how to consume it. It is truly the value, but it's starting somewhere. Mm-hmm. You have to want this. You can't just, somebody said I need to grow a garden. No. Do you want to grow a garden? Right. What do you like to eat? Don't just do it because again, buying a home is just like starting a garden. Mm-hmm. You have to invest. Right. What you invest into it is what you're going to get in return.
And it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Just like you plant that seed, it's not going to be grown the next day. It's a process.
It's a process. And I would rather you be able to be sustaining on soil that you own to build that garden, because then you don't have to worry about, unless you run out of money, but getting that rug pulled out from underneath you when you're investing and putting life back into that soil. There's so many ways about this. And if you can't, this is what I'm saying. I love that community, they bought a house and then they, helped to buy another house and helped to buy another house. We have to, I think, the circle back of trust.
Right.
Because we've all, COVID, whatever, have divided us where we don't trust people anymore.
That's true.
And, good friends of ours have a co-housing community in Paso, Old Creek Commons. I remember when they were promoting it and how everybody had, their hand in the pot of mixing and how this co-housing was going to be. Yes, co-housing is not for everyone, but it did serve a purpose. I'm noticing it's changed because... It
has changed.
It's changed a lot because people are afraid to communicate. People are afraid to delegate that, okay, you need to do this, because if you don't do this, the deterioration, or we have to fix this. It's weird how our feelings get hurt if we're told to do something.
Right.
Again, it's a communication. It's that building resilience. It's learning from the old, maybe getting rid of the bad from the old, but carrying on all the new. We need to take what somebody has built and what they knew and learn from building it and carry it on.
Make it better,
and make it better, right? But we all have to keep doing something.
Right. Speaking of communication, we're going to have a part 2 because we are out of time.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, because I am not even watching the time, because this has been a fun conversation. Okay, you have to come back often.
Yes,
okay,
for sure.
So because we need
down the street.
Yeah, this is super fun. Josh will be back next week. Stay tuned. Check us out on the website, naturesneighbor.net. Thanks.